SNME Podcast Network.
Hey, ¿cómo estamos, mi gente? Welcome to an edition of Lucha con Macho, and we are here for episode 2 of Lucha Talk. Guys, what a phenomenal show was Saturday Night Main Event, huh? We sat there and we watched it together. I watched wrestling fans just relish it, just completely take it in. They loved all of it. And then when the show was over, like the drop of a hat, all of the hate started. It was one of the weirdest things that I've seen in a very long time. As every single match was happening, I watched people jump on TikTok, on Twitter, on IG Lives, whatever. I watched all of them talk about how great the show was. And then once the show was over, there was this big letdown, this sigh of just, it was fine. That's all it was. It was fine. I don't understand the logic behind that. Let's go over the show real quick. So we kick off with Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax. Now, I think that Nia works Rhea, Naomi, Bayley, Becky. I think she works those people. And Lyra. That King of the Ring match or the Queen of the Ring match was phenomenal. She works them the best. They bring out the best in her. And when people say, why did this match? Why did Rhea Ripley face Nia Jax? What was the purpose of that? They made two big mistakes. Here they were. Number one, the mistake they made was assuming that Tiffany Stratton and Nia was done. That feud was over. That we weren't going to get a blow-off match. Because clearly Nia is not done with Tiffany Stratton. The Royal Rumble is right around the corner. Do you honestly think that Tiffany is going to go all the way to WrestleMania without working Nia at least one more time? Now, we know the objective is for Charlotte Flair to win the Royal Rumble. I'll give you my Royal Rumble prediction show at the end of the week, right before Saturday. But we know with certainty that Nia Jax is going to work Tiffany Stratton. And the second mistake was people not understanding why they were working each other. So Nia and Rhea worked each other at the Elimination Chamber last year. Was Rhea Ripley in a group then? Did she have a boyfriend then? Did she have her entire country behind her? She had everything. There was absolutely zero. She was the Kansas City Chiefs. She had everything at her disposal. This time, Rhea had nothing. She had no man. She had no group. And she was in a hostile environment. So, of course, Nia feels like she had the upper hand. So why not challenge her when her chips are down? Yeah, you beat Liv Morgan. You beat Liv. But can you beat me? I thought the match was spectacular. I loved everything about it. I thought the two of them worked so well together. I would like to see an extended program. Like, you know the way that we used to do professional wrestling? When we would have things go like 4 or 5 months? When we didn't have wrestling fans bitching and moaning all of the time when something went over 2 months? Because we live in a microwave society. Everybody wants to be Violet Beauregard. They want everything now. I want it now. Why can't you guys just enjoy the product in front of you? It's an odd thing to me to watch people complain over storytelling. We move on from there, and we have Braun Breaker versus Sheamus. Now, I knew going into the match that Braun was winning. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about that, guys. I did not expect at all for Braun Breaker to drop the championship to Sheamus at a Saturday night's main event. But I saw a lot of people did expect that. They wanted that to happen. Pero ¿por qué? Why? ¿Por qué carajo ustedes quieren eso? There's no need for you to have that. Not now. It's 2025, guys. We're trying to build new stars. We've been following Braun Breaker from NXT, and they slow rolled his ass to the main roster because he didn't have a lot of experience. And we got him on the main roster. He beats Sammy for the IC title. He gives you guys the title back, right? They have Jey Uso win the title. Then he wins it back. Well, now he has to have a real reign. How would it benefit Braun Breaker to drop the championship to Sheamus? How does that benefit anybody? That doesn't benefit Sheamus. Do they have plans for him? No, of course not. Because Saturday night's main event is not designed for the hardcore fan. It is designed for the casual. That's exactly what it's meant for. You see, we came out of this show praising the matches, but then there was this element of, ¿dónde está la sorpresa? Like, where the surprises at? You guys sound like MCU fans. You go to an MCU movie, and instead of shutting your brain off and being like, holy shit, I'm watching comic books play out live, you come out of the movie after you've enjoyed it for 2 hours and 15 minutes or however long they are, and then you're like, you know what that was missing? You know what would have made it better? That surprise cameo. That's what would have made it better. But why? Why do you need that surprise cameo? Every single movie. Where's the special in that? You see, I bring up the Undertaker quote all the time on the Bucks because it's so important to remind people what they're asking for. The Undertaker once said something about the Young Bucks, and he said they do all of their special in every single match. And when you do all of your special every single time, it's not special anymore. So kicking out of finishers all the time, it's not special anymore. It used to be a big pop. And this generation grew up watching people kick out of finishers, just like Taker said. And they decided, I want that pop. But now it happens all the time. Every single match, there's a kick out of a finish. What's the point? And there's no real finishers anymore. Braun Breaker gets his foot up after the brogue kick. This match was perfect. It was exceptional. It built Braun as just this unstoppable force. But for some reason, there are wrestling fans out there that don't view it that way. They would rather the feel-good moment. Here's the thing, guys. You would think after the Cody Rhodes debacle that you would learn that Triple H is not going to give you a feel-good moment if it's detrimental to a story. It's just not going to happen, guys. He's going to put story first. That's always going to be his MO. We need to stick with that because that's the only way to produce the type of wrestling that he wants to give you. Now, before I jump into Jacob Fatu versus Braun Strowman, I wanted to touch on one thing. If you want feel-good moments over storytelling, you have that. It's called AEW. That's exactly what that is, guys. You have an owner that is willing and able to give you the feel-good moment. But for some reason, that's never enough for you. For almost 20 years, we went with WWE being the monopoly, them taking over everything. Their only direct competition, if you could call it that, was TNA. And in that time, they knew that TNA wasn't real competition. So what did they do? They booked the show how they wanted to book the show. Nikki Bella said this on a podcast a while back where she actually said that we think we know what's going to happen, and they laugh at us backstage because we want what they tell us to want. Now, I know this rubbed people the wrong way, but it's the truth. Every now and then we get a little bit of inside baseball. And that was the truth, guys. We are always going to view WWE as a singular thing. Now, when you say you want that surprise element, you say you want that feel-good moment, and it's not good enough in AEW, are you saying that you want WWE and AEW to be identical? Because that's exactly what it sounds like to me. If you have an owner who has a company who's willing to give you the feel-good moment, let's say, for example, like having Sting win his final wrestling match, which goes completely against everything that man has been brought up in the business to do. Speaking as a Sting fan, I enjoyed being there in person to watch Sting beat the Bucks. That was awesome to me. But would I have liked Sting to go out on his back 100%? I would have preferred him to work Darby Allin one-on-one and put him over the best way a pro can. But AEW didn't want that. He was a fan of Sting. So he wanted Sting to go out on top. Now, I'm not going to complain about that for the rest of my life because I love Sting. And I feel like he should have beaten Triple H at WrestleMania. I feel like he should have beaten Seth Rollins and had, even if it was for a day, he should have had the world title. It would have been dope to say Sting was former WWE champion. Didn't happen. Now, if it was in AEW, it would have happened. But they weren't going to put a feel-good moment of having Sting beat Seth Rollins over the story of what Seth Rollins was building as the world champion. Do you see what I'm getting at? I understand y'all want Sheamus to win that elusive Intercontinental Championship, and he will get that. Triple H will give you that. We know that this is true because he gave you Chelsea Green. He gave you Lyra Valkyria. He gave Rhea Ripley back the title. He gave Liv Morgan a 280-day reign. He has given you guys a lot. It just seems like it's never enough. And I see all of these wrestling fans jump on the internet complaining, saying, oh, but Triple H books because, what is the term? If it makes sense, then it's probably the right thing. Now, Tyler has said on our podcast before, sometimes that's not helpful. Guys, it is helpful. Because as I said, Saturday night's main event wasn't supposed to further stories. It wasn't. It was meant so Gunther could get his world title match because he's not working the Royal Rumble. It was meant so Rhea can get a world title match because she's not working the Royal Rumble. It was meant so we can have Cody and Kevin in the ring together with a legend so there can be some physicality, but they're not going to actually work before the Royal Rumble because that's the world title match at the Royal Rumble. Now, I grew up in an era in which there were 2 to 3 matches and then the Royal Rumble. See, this is a perfect comment right here. Sting didn't lose any of his matches in AEW because they're all about the feel-good moment. That's what AEW provides. AEW does not care about stories, which is what brings me back to what I was talking about a little bit ago. And that is that WWE is all about storytelling. They're structuring something. It's all about, hey, here's the beginning. Let's get through the middle. And by the time we get to the end, it'll all make sense to you. Now, sometimes they don't want their biggest shows ruined, which is why I believe in my soul Cody was never supposed to win the title at WrestleMania 40. I think they did that because fans hijacked WrestleMania 40. But now we're in a situation in which this is what happens when you give a feel-good moment. We have a mid-title run. Because now we have a title run in which everybody's like, but there's nothing believable about it. Like, nobody's expecting Kevin to beat Cody next week. There's not a single person expecting that. You didn't expect them to lose to AJ. You didn't expect them to lose to Carmelo Hayes. He wasn't expected to lose to Logan Paul. Come on. They strategically put him out there against guys that he's never going to lose to. At no point in Cody Rhodes' run, at no point, has he ever been put in a position in which Matt Riddle would take the title from him, or that we would believe that would happen. Because, guys, guess what? When you go back and watch that Matt Riddle versus Roman Reigns match, when he hits that RKO, that place erupted because they thought Riddle just beat the champ. There's been no point like that with Cody. There hasn't even been a near fall like that. So that's the point. When you give fans that feel-good moment over story, well, you're putting them in a position in which, well, there's nothing behind it. Then you don't have anything after the fact. So why are wrestling fans asking for WWE to do that? Why can't you watch WWE and just be like, this company's for storytelling, that company's for fantasy booking? Why do you need them to be the same? You asked for an alternative for almost 20 years. That's what it was like. For 20 years, I want something different. I can't take this shit no more. Tyler used to say it to me all the time. He used to be like, man, I don't think I could watch this company anymore. I just don't think I could do it. Oh, you're expecting Kevin Owens to beat Cody. Okay. He would say that stuff to me. I don't think I could do it anymore, man. It's just not for me. And here we are. Now we have the alternative, and people are trying to turn it into WWE because that's what it is. It's WWE Light. That's what it's become. But I'm not trying to disparage either company. I'm trying to remind you of what you asked for. So please remember this when you're watching both companies, whether it's AEW or WWE. AEW is for feel-good moments. AEW is for fantasy booking. AEW is for the 5-star match. WWE is for the story. They're for theatrics. That's what they're for. WWE is designed that way. They're going to let you in on the gag, and then you're going to follow it all the way through the end. That's it. And getting back to Saturday night's main event, what an amazing job Triple H and Creative have done in building Jacob Fatu. Now, I predicted before the show started that Jacob would beat Braun Strowman because everybody beats Braun Strowman. I mean, honestly, the dude loses to everybody. And it's just become one of those things where whenever I see him in a feud, I'm expecting him to lose it. I mean, everybody he works, he's never going to be the guy who just comes out on top. I think the only feud he's won in the past couple of years is Goldberg. That's it. Everybody beats Goldberg now. Bobby beat Goldberg. Roman beat Goldberg. Yeah, that's just the way it is. Lesnar beat Goldberg. Taker beat Goldberg. It's fine. He just joined one of the many. Where's Solo? I think that they're building a story right now, trying to make Solo a babyface. I wouldn't be surprised if Solo and Jacob Fatu go to WrestleMania feuding with each other. I think that would be like a safe bet. Safe bet there. Yeah, but Jacob came out looking like $1,000. He cut a promo that he cut when he faced Van Hammer. If you remember, like Godzilla, King Kong, you think you're one of them. I'm both of them. I like how he says the hell after every sentence, right? So he says like, what y'all looking at, hell? I'm King Kong and Godzilla together, hell, right? Like he cuts those banging ass promos. It's nice. It's like the yes or the what. He's turning it into something. He's a special dude. He is going to be one of those guys. I mean, I've seen about 5 videos today. Jacob Fatu is a gangster. He is, and he's dope. He is awesome. We need somebody like him because there's nobody like him, and there's never been anybody really like him. Maybe his style, sure. You know, he's a little more athletic than you'd expect, but I mean, let's be clear about this though. His presentation is unlike anything we've ever seen. It's very special, very cool presentation. And I love that he came off as the guy who didn't care about winning today. He wants to put you down. He wants to make sure that it's a wrap. When we're done here, you ain't coming back after me. Every time you look at me from now on, you're going to remember this beating. That's exactly what I think he's there for. I think Tama Tonga is one more away from getting a t-shirt. He's dope too. I actually like his in-ring work. I don't think he's like otherworldly, but I think he's a really good, solid pro. I think he's awesome. But since we're staying on the bloodline, why don't we jump over to the main event of the evening? Main event: Jey Uso versus Gunther. Guys, the amount of people that thought that Jey Uso were going to win this match, you almost convinced me. You almost. I was thinking, I was like, man, something's going on here. Is Jey going to win this match? Because they had the special entrance set up and they were showing us behind the scenes stuff. And I was like, yo, are we going to get a surprise tonight? Is Jey Uso gonna beat Gunther? And then I thought about it. I was like, nah, that really doesn't benefit anybody. It doesn't. Now, to be quite honest with you, I don't know where we go from here because there's no other big tag teams out there unless we're going to do New Day versus the Usos at WrestleMania, which, I mean, they've worked every other place in the world. Why not work WrestleMania like on the actual show instead of pre-show? That would be cool because we'll be able to see like heel New Day versus like the Usos together. But it looks like the Usos are running separate for a while. It looks like Jimmy is going out there working his own stuff and Jey is sticking with the main event Jey Uso thing. Main event Jey Uso is just an entrance, man. Well, that entrance is dope because it is loud. People are excited. They got that yeet going. I mean, he's definitely stolen that shit from any other person that says yeet. When you say yeet, you think of Jey Uso now. I think the kids before us or the kids that grew up while we were, you know, fully grown adults working a full-time job, they probably thought it was Logan Paul. But we don't know that motherfucker. You know, I didn't know him back when he was saying yeet. I knew him from Vine. I thought he was just the guy who, you know, did funny sketches. That's where I knew him from. But yeah, guys, this show I thought was great. I'm just here to remind you that this show is not designed for you to think, oh, where's the furtherment of stories? That's not what this was for. It was for casuals. It was for people who had canceled dates. It was for people who were homesick. Saturday night's main event was for the introvert. It was for the person that is a big cinephile or TV file and decided, I want to stay in tonight. I just want to scroll through television, eat some ice cream, and just crash out on the couch. That's why they tell you tonight you will not hear Saturday Night Live. You will not see Saturday Night Live because that was the big spectacle show. And for the hardcores that are angry because they feel like they didn't get anything and they're coming out of the show angry, that's because, like I said earlier, you guys are going into it with expectations and you shouldn't. I find it so odd that we live in this generation now in which people can't shut their brains off for even 2 hours. Like, I'm going to give you a perfect example before I get off here. I saw people trash the movie Craven. Just obliterate this movie as possibly the worst Marvel, Fox, Sony, whatever movie they've ever seen. Me and my son watched it. I thought it was great. I thought it was fun. It's a popcorn flick. I don't go into these movies expecting like Oscar-worthy performances. I guess maybe it's just the generation that I live in, because when I watch a movie like that, I'm expecting like cheesy action. I'm expecting like stupid movie lines, like dad one-liners. I'm not expecting for Craven to be the first Joker movie. I'm not expecting, you know, for Kick-Ass to give me a Heath Ledger performance. That's not what I'm expecting. That's why those things are so special. I think Jesse the Body Ventura is sorely needed in professional wrestling. He provides an element in which we don't have anymore, which is the heel commentator. It was shocking to see him root so hardly for Sheamus, but I think it was a generation thing. Like, you know, Sheamus is from the old school and Jey Uso's not. I mean, Sheamus is still a hell of a lot younger than, you know, Jesse Ventura, but I still thought that was dope. I love the fact that, he points out that Cody's such a crybaby. What a temper tantrum he threw yesterday. I was looking this thing up earlier, and it was so funny. I typed into Google, like, temper tantrums, right? And I looked at all of the categories, and I thought, this is what Cody Rhodes has been doing with his promos lately. Like, he's been so irrational. It's been the most ridiculous thing ever. Like, you got Kevin Owens out here speaking gospel, like telling you the whole truth. Like, you only care about yourself. You don't care about the fans. You don't care about me. All you care is you just want to be at the top. And Cody Rhodes' reaction to that is enough. And it's like, what? That's your reaction to this? You couldn't cut this man down to size? You couldn't make something up? You just had to scream enough and then just be like, let's go, let's fight? Like, bro, are you a baby? Are you a toddler? Did somebody just send you to bed with no dinner? Because what the fuck? I thought that was so funny. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. This was just a short show. Just wanted to talk about Saturday night's main event here. The one thing I wanted to do here is, we got a new person in here. Hello. We got Mikey. There we go. Saturday's main event is meant to be fun, and sometimes popcorn wrestling is what we need. Folks need to remember that in the second word of sports entertainment more. In other words, it was SpongeBob. It's about fun. Agreed. Mikey, perfect. Absolutely agree. Saturday night's main event is exactly that. It's campy. It's funny. It's supposed to be nostalgia. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Love that so much. Think that that's one of the best comments we've had in a while. Definitely appreciate you checking out the show. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. I will be jumping on here this week, probably Wednesday, so that way I can give you my Royal Rumble predictions. And once they're set in stone, I'm sticking with them. I'm not, going back and forth. There will be no backpedaling. There's no Joe Rogan here. When I tell you something, I mean it. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Please follow all of the socials at the bottom of the screen. Please like and subscribe and share our podcast here. The best way to get the podcast out to everybody is through word of mouth. To be quite honest with you, the only way for this to grow is by you telling your friends, yo, check out this guy talking wrestling. Even if you want to watch just a hate watch, I'll take it. Whatever you want to do. If you want to be like este pendejo, the way he talks about wrestling drives me nuts. Do that. Jump into the comments with me. Let's have a discussion. I appreciate each and every one of you. I think the world of you guys, and thank you so much. We are over 1,400 YouTube subscribers, guys. I would love to get to 2,000 before March 30th. Once again, guys, thank you so much, and que tenga buen día.